What up? We are back with another draft league. Yes, I know it's crazy. We're in another draft league. It's alright. I could do these. Don't feel like I'm gonna get overwhelmed. Speaking of that though, was supposed to have 2 videos out last week. However, something pretty massive came up and I had to deal with that. So I will upload those pretty much right after this gets uploaded. And I do have 3 matches today. I don't know if I'm going to upload all of them. None will be on Saturday. I might upload 1 on Sunday, and I might upload 2 more today. So there might be 4 videos coming out today. So expect that. Another thing I would also like to mention is that even though we are in 5 draft leagues, I think you guys are seeing 3. The schedule there will not be a schedule still due to just random scheduling times, and even though there will be possibly multiple videos coming out at the same time, it's just gonna happen. So just take it as you will. But yes, we're in another draft league. We are in a pretty massive one, the DLB, also known as Draft League Base, which, if you don't know, is a pretty big draft league. They had some pretty big names in that, like Albino and all that stuff, OG Albino. Some pretty big names there, so it's pretty exciting to be in this, and I'm really happy with that team. This team is pretty incredible, and I'm excited to use every single mon. But let's get off with pretty much the basics. Basically, any mon with 13 points, or terror points of 13 and below can allow to terror, with around, I think we had 20 terror points to work with. So we were pretty comfortable with what we wanted to use with the terrors and with some pretty mid-tier terrors. So we had a lot of strength in this. Not to mention, we also had, I believe, 115 points to work with, so we had a decent amount of points. And we had to the draft, I believe, 10 mons with that, so we did have to be sort of lenient, but not really too lenient. But anyways, there was 16 players snake draft. I got 16th. So you can instantly expect no pull, no valiant, none of this. However, I was able to make 2 picks back to back. In the very first pick, I wanted to use this mon. I wanted to use this mon for so long. Ever since my very first draft league, I wanted to use this mon. That's how badly I wanted to use this mon. And I finally get to pick up Tornadus Therian. Oh my god, I'm so happy. This mon is a monster. This mon has incredible stats. Incredible stats for a draft. Or draft league mon. What? Oh, okay. His theme just disappeared. That's okay. This is incredible stats for a draft mon. Mainly because we are quite literally unpredictable on what we want to be. We could truly be anything, and that's also because he gets a great moveset. He could be physical, he could be special, he gets bulk up, nasty plot. He could also be incredible support with nasty plot, U-turn, and we get a lot of other certain moves like taunt. I think we get whirlwind somewhere down here. I think there's another move that's pretty big. We get chill in water to just straight up, we want to just neutralize them on. This mon is great. Also, pure flying is nice. We instantly don't have a ground immunity or ground weakness, which, if you have seen my other draft, we tend to have ground weaknesses. So you know. But this mon's a monster. This mon gets incredible moves, not to mention this incredible 121 base speed. This is really hard to prep for, because if you want to outspeed Tornadus Therian, you are basically forced to run Scarf, which is just really tough to be like, okay, this could be a really fast one and I might need to use Scarf. Or he could just be max defense and just be a bulky while he's trying to want to mess me up. That's what I kind of love about him. He's so good. And we didn't even get to the cherry on the cake, the part that truly makes him OP and busted as hell, which is Regenerator. Basically, we could do whatever we want. We can go in, do Bleakwind Storms, miss or not, and do a big chunk, take this big chunk of damage and dip right out and heal all that back up. No downside to this mod. It is truly amazing. The only downside to this mod is that we kind of forced to run heavy duty sometimes, due to us being pure flying and taking 25%. However, with Regenerator. It's also not super bad, so if there's matchups where it's like they do have technically rocks, but it seems like they might not come, or it's not too scary to deal with, we're just not gonna bring heavy duty, and we could just heal that up and just do some big damage. So I really like that. He's really nice, and it's also really nice to be base 121 speed and outspeed a lot of mons with no speed investment, so it's truly nice. Now for my second pick, because I knew I was not going to get this once it comes back around, and most importantly, it's insane. When I mean insane, that this mon made it, or not made it, but was allowed to Terra is incredible. We were able to grab a pretty much Uber's mon, Terra Superior. This mon is a monster. We get Contrary Leaf Storm, so we we get Contrary Leaf Storm, which means we always get to +2 at any time. And with Terra, we have Terra Grass, Terra Fire, which is just, that's all we need. We only need those two, and we just kill everything. And then I also did Electric for overall baseline coverage, because one weakness, ground weakness, we're grass type, so we beat ground, and then we kind of have good coverage for everything else, so it's not that bad. Although I could see myself changing this to like ground or maybe even water down the line. However, I'm going to try to stick with electric and see how it goes. Also, but let's be honest, we're going to be running fire 99% of the time. Terra Fire with Terra Blast is incredible. We also get Dragon Pulse, so we get some good coverage, and we get Substitute. We get Synthesis, which is incredible as well. Amazing speed still, so we have great speed to start off this draft. And I am so happy that we're allowed to get this mon with Terra. This will most likely be some sort of like offensive Leaf Storm, Terra Fire, and just start snagging kills. However, we could be lefties and just be like Substitute, Synthesis, Leech Seed, and be really annoying. We even with Leaf Storm, with mons that resist it, still take a decent chunk, do us being like +2, +4, +6. So yeah, it's really insane. And I'm so incredibly happy that I get to use this mon, and I'm so excited to see how it does in the draft, because I could really just see this mon getting out of hand for no reason, like that, not even trying to, or maybe my opponent prepping well for it, but simply just doesn't have enough to prep for a +4 superior with Terra. This mon is a monster. I can't believe I allowed this to Terra, and I'm so happy I was able to grab this. But basically I didn't expect a lot more to come from these next two picks, mainly because I had to go from 16 back to 1 and 1 back to 16, so there's almost like I don't know, like what, 30 picks almost coming back to me, so a lot of picks were chosen. However, another mon that I was super incredibly happy that it made it back to me, and a mon that I really wanted to use as well because I love this mon, and it's a Rapid Spinner, a really amazing one. We get to use Quackable. We get the double starter with the Water Fire core, or Water Grass core. But Moxie Aqua Step is all I need to say. I mean, this is a DD if he gets the kill with Aqua Step. And we don't need any speed investment. This is what truly makes this mon incredible with base 85 speed. We could just be no speed investment and get to like +2 so incredibly easily. And then we outspeed Scarf mons. That's how crazy good this mon is. Not to mention that this mon pretty much snowballs incredibly quickly, with it pretty much having no counter to its snowball. But also, like, it's pretty difficult. It's I would say it's the spectre we wanted in Draft Lake, where it's like this mon just spirals out of hand at any possible moment in the entire battle, even the start of the battle, and there's no way to stop it. It's incredibly threatening, not to mention that you could be really defensive with Roost, Rapid Spin, and oh sorry, that's Bane Dance, Rapid Spin, and I also believe he gets Flip Turn. Like, we could just be super defensive with some sort of lefties, which is really nice, or even Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet actually sounds a lot nicer in a lot of matchups, especially since he has pretty decent physical bulk and HP, so we probably want to try to use that physical bulk more often. But yeah, this is another mono I want this to be incredibly difficult to prep for, but also have my hazard removal, so I was really happy with this. I also would like to mention that it has great coverage with Ice Spinner, Close Combat, Acrobatics if you want to run no item or a possible berry. We get, what's it called? We get knockoff. Sorry, I forgot that. Knockoff is so good. We get bulk up in sword dance, which is incredible, and he got triple axle. Now triple axle was not crazy for him because he already had ice spinner, and usually he always just spirals with Moxie, so it's not that big. However, I could see triple axle just being an absolute killer if we make a really offensive one, and we just like see that there's no triple axle switching compared to ice spinner, due to triple axle just being incredible power. So this is really good. I really think this mon is a monster, and I'm so happy that I get to use this. And like by this point, I got my 3 bonds. I'm so happy. This is a core I could build from anywhere, and I am happy. But there's one core I want to get, and this is a core that's been completely devastating in Draft League ever since the start of Draft League. And it has won massive tournaments, and it's just so stupid and incredibly impossible to deal with. A regen core. Having double regen is just so incredibly difficult for your opponent to deal with because it's almost impossible to break it. So I was like, okay, what regen mons are around? And then I see I can't believe this made it back to me. Uniclus. Now, we did already draft Uniclus in another draft league, but we're drafting him again. We're drafting my boy again. He came back from DLC and we're giving it to him. We're giving him all the love. Now, we already, I'm not going to get too much into Uniclus because we did talk about him in the other draft league, but this mon's amazing. Regenerator, double regen core is yet again incredibly difficult to deal with, but we get magic guard, life orb, no toxic immunity, recover, we get pretty great coverage, and look at these stats. Like, this is gonna be incredibly difficult for my opponent to deal with. They could spend like an hour just trying to prep out how to deal with both of these two. Now, sadly, Regenerator did get kind of nerfed recently with what's it called? Sadly, the new move called Alluring Voice, which makes it where you can't heal for the next turn. That makes it pretty tough for stuff like Tornadus, because if he gets Alluring Voice and then we turn out, we don't actually get the regen. So it could be a little bad at times, but I do see 99% of the time that it's not really going to be affected. So it's a really nice grab in this. Like this, I could just have these 4 and I'm happy. I can have a completely bad team for the rest. But that's not the case. Yet again, 30 picks had to go around before it came back to me. So I was expecting not too much heat to come back, but he did come back to me. Heat did indeed come back to me. And I first wanted to grab my rocker and hazard stacker, but also just, you know, an overall pretty chunky boy. We are grabbing the old regular Quagsire. Water ground, only weak to grass when we have Tornadus and Superior. Those are free switch-ins into. We love that. We get Water Absorb, which is really nice, although we don't really have a Biomon right now, which, hint hint, we will be very next pick. It's really nice for fire types to have a good core and just have an immunity, but also unaware. It's just really nice because we just completely shut down setup mons. And we get, of course, Stealth Rocks, Spikes, and Toxic Spikes. We get all 3. We get Recover. We can have the ability to run lefties. This mon is great. He has, although I would say underwhelming stats, it really isn't when it comes to draft, due to us being able to do some pretty good EV crapping like something like this, and being able to take specific hits, and that's exactly what we want, or just being able to wall certain mon being max, and then something like an SD mon like Baxcalibur in front of us, we could just be max, unaware, and not be threatened by him. We also get Toxic, which is wild. I'm not gonna lie, I really thought he would lose it because this is one of the mons that truly thrived on having Toxic, and it's awesome that we get to use that. But another thing is, like, he has a great move pool. He really has it all for move pool coverage. Of course, his stats for physical is and offensive overall is a little lackluster. He still has a great coverage to hit stuff. Not to mention, he still also gets Yawn at a backup status if we don't want Toxic. However, I do see me running Toxic more than Yawn due to taking it a turn, and also Yawn gives Sleep Claws, so we can't really spam it, while Toxic we can spam on a lot of teams. So I didn't like, you know, I think Toxic will be overall better, but we do get some great moves like Curse to set up if we want to try to be really offensive. I have seen a bunch of Curses just go crazy. just because it's really hard to deal with that. Not to mention that no mons can really set up next to us because of Unaware. So Curse Unaware is a great setup pretty much for this mon, but pretty much this will be our main hazard mon because it's just a really, it does the job pretty amazing. Especially with Unaware and Water Absorb, we can just pretty shut down a lot of cores in front of us. And yeah, I'm happy about this pick. This next pick though, I am incredibly surprised this made it back to me, especially since everyone was talking about it on this round, because it's such an incredible mon, and it was allowed to tear it. Of course, we will not tear it because we already spent 13 points, so we don't have enough to be able to tear this mon and Superior. But I really thought this would be taken because tear this mon is pretty busted. It's been able to destroy some pretty crazy draft leagues with it. But we're gonna grab double Unaware Skeledirge. That's right. Double Unaware, we get our Fire Ghost type, and we get that Water mon for Water as well, making a pretty incredible duo right there. Unaware is pretty amazing for Skeledirge, because now we have a backup Unaware mon, so if you want to run Water Absorb with Crag, we can run Unaware on Skeledirge, or just double Unaware to wall 2 setup mons, which is a really high possibility in this meta, so I like that. We also get Slack Off. We also get a Learn Voice, sorry, that's pretty nice, but which is really a massive buff for this mon. I do want to say this is a massive, incredible, massive buff, because its other fairy move was Disarming Voice. So now it has a way to hit dragons, and it's now an ultimate Full Moon counter, which is really nice. But it gets Slack Off, which is big. It gets Willow, which is big. And it gets the crazy move Torch Song, and Willow and Hex is an incredible duo, with it pretty being, this by itself being able to just wipe teams, but Torch Song is crazy because we get to +1 special attack, making this really incredibly bulky mon and absolute house to break through. Like, this mon is really difficult to break, but also can just sweep. I have used this in other drafts before, and I have had 2 drafts or 2 matches with this mon where I never expected it to be, but I was able to just get to like +2, and I 6-0'd them from the start. And it wasn't like they didn't have a good check or anything, it was just because I was able to get a good turn Willow predict on their check, and then I could just set up Torch Songs and just start snagging kills before I needed to leave. And that's one thing that's really nice about this mon. You can't set up in front of us because they're unaware. We get to set up in front of you, and we also get to burn you, so any physical attackers are not threatened, so we can always just be like really like Willow, Hex, and then be really specially bulky, so we can just wall both sides, and then of course Slack Off. Heavy dudes is really nice, lefties is really nice. I have ran a lot of berries with this mon, like Ghost, Dark, Water, Ground, because it pretty much can and will be able to wall every single mon, no matter what typing it is. The only ones it kind of struggles with is special attackers, like for instance like Landorus Incarnate with Sheer Force is not a mon that can wall. However, Landorus Incarnate in this draft, I believe, wasn't allowed to use Sheer Force, but it was allowed to be drafted, so it's not even like that's a threatening mon we have to deal with, so that's great. Really happy about that. But yeah, this mon is incredible, and yet again, this team right here, this is pretty much a 6. This is a 6 I could see me bringing to OU and just climbing the ladder pretty well, or UU, honestly, probably UU. These are all UU mons, I just realized, but it's a pretty incredible team. Yes, we don't have any OU mons and no UU mons like you usually want to have for a draft, but this combination, and due to certain mons being like Thunderous Sarian or Tornado Sarian basically being the Ubers of Draft League, is really good. So yeah, I'm liking this. We got some pretty great, we have amazing bulk, like double Region Core with Skeledirge Crag. We don't need any more bulk. We could be HO for the rest and we're good to go. But we do have superior Quack, so we're not even like really bulky. With that being said though, we are gonna draft more bulk. Yet again, 16 picks going back and 16 picks again. So there was basically 30 picks that went around, and of course all the good mons are basically gone by this point since it's round 7 now, round 7, 8. But I'm happy with what I have. I can pretty much get sniped for everything, which luckily we didn't get sniped at all. No, that's a lie. We did get sniped for one mod, however, it was not a mod we cared about at all. I say we, but I say me. I don't know why I say we. I say that often when I do draft. It's mainly because I do like mocks with people, so I kind of want to say we. But most of it is just like, you know, me deciding. But you know, I have people to help. Anyways, There were, of course, a lot of good picks taken. However, my next pick that I basically was really happy that didn't get stolen, because this is a kind of tough mon to replace, sort of. I wanted another rocker, but also I really want to use this mon because it got Eviolite, and it's pretty incredible. Just because it always rocked AV, we're going for Duraludon. Duraludon's amazing. Now his abilities are meh. So it's not terrible, but like it doesn't do anything in battles for us. But we can run Eviolite. That's massive, because if you don't know, if you ever played NetDex or NextX Draft, either or, people would always love to draft Duraludon with Terror, and then just always be AV, because its moveset is incredible. Like, look at this: Body Slam, Body Press, Dark Pulse, Draco, Dragapulse, Flash Cannon. What's the other one? Sorry, wait. It gets Flamethrower, Thunderbolt. Yep, like it gets all of this. It's incredible for offensive, and it just needed that special bulk. So giving it AV really made this mon like an incredible low tier point. And we say low tier, but it's like 9 points, 10 points, which is technically a low tier, but not really. But like it's really good now, because now we can run moves like Thunder Wave and Stealth Rocks with pretty much no downside. Like, we don't have to deal with AV because we have an Eviolite. So that's truly amazing. It really makes this mon incredibly bulky, not to mention that his base 115 is now like 220 or 230, which is incredible, making this mon pretty difficult to deal with, not to mention that it hits really hard with that base 120 special attack and Dracos and all these incredible move pools. So this mon's really nice. I'm really glad I was able to draft this mon. By this point, I don't really care if anything gets sniped. This mon I was a little scared of getting sniped, sort of. I didn't fully care if it got sniped, but it was a mon that I just wanted to use. So it would have been more or less like a, you know, a sad snipe, but we didn't get sniped, so it's nice. This next pick, however, we did get sniped. So we had to go with a worse typing of this, and this is definitely a sad snipe that we got, but I'm also kind of excited to use mine because I got fucked up by this mon, so I'm excited to now try it out, and it's another Eviolite mon. We needed a fairy type, so we get that Dragon Steel Fairy core going, but also I feel like there was no good fairy types around, I'll be completely honest. The only other fairy type around was like, I think a Nameless Therian at like 13, 14 points, which is good, don't get me wrong, I love a Nameless Therian. I've used him, I am currently using him in another draft. But that's too expensive for us right now. So we basically had to go with sort of the bare minimum of this fairy types, but this is still not a terrible fairy type because it's actually decently bulky with what it does, and it gets Magic Guard. We're gonna be using just a regular old Clefairy, not Clefable, Clefairy. And I don't know why I made it shiny, sorry. Just out of habit. But we get to run Eviolite again. Its stats is kind of lackluster, however, it walls pretty well. If Eviolite doesn't get knocked off, this mon is actually an actual menace. Like, this mon is a menace. It's really incredibly difficult to break. Not to mention, we could be Magic Guard, and we can't be Toxic now. Or we can be Toxic, but we don't take Toxic damage. So, you can only Thunder Wave this mon to break its bulkiness. It gets Moonlight, so it's really hard to break. It gets Moon Blast, so it threatens some pretty offensive mons. But also, we get Cosmic Power. This mon is incredibly difficult to deal with. Like, this mon can just easily get out of hand with Moonblast, Stored Power, Cosmic Power, Moonlight. This is all you need. Magic Guard? Like, it's really difficult to break this. There is a bunch of mons like this where it's just like, this is a deal breaker. And it's really nice that a fairy type gets to use this because, of course, the only thing stopping Stored Power from sweeping is dark types. And, of course, being fairy, we could just Moonblast them. So, this is like a really, really nice, mon. Like, I think even though it's low overall stats, it can really bulk, and after doing some calcs for the next couple, like for these draft league matches in this week, and even fighting some and doing the calcs, it really is like, wow, this mon could take incredible hits. Get out of here, Razor. Get out of here, Razor. But yeah, it can take a lot of hits, and it's really nice. Not to mention, of course, that we don't have to really think about running an item when we always have to run EVLite. Yeah, it's also another stealth rocket, which is really nice. It does get stealth rocks. Not to mention, it gets an incredible move pool. Yet again, we already know Clefable gets an incredible move pool, and this is Clefairy, so it gets an incredible move pool. Of course, I don't know if we'll be using the incredible move pool anywhere close to as often as Clefable, due to us being kind of already strict with our stats. So we kind of need to, even though it's not terrible, like it's not really like a super downside to deal with, we do have to kind of hinder ourselves with that. So we got to be a little careful with Clefairy, but this is a mon that is like really strong. Yeah, I wanted to grab this now because if this got drafted from someone else, we would not have a fairy type, and that would be really bad. Especially since our other dragon immunity, or our dragon resist, is a dragon type, so we don't even have a dragon immunity, or a dragon resist, if we lost Clefairy. So yeah, I was like, okay, we needed this. I'll drafted that next. And yet again, these are our last 2 picks that we get. And yet again, 16 back, so 30, around like 30 picks or so, coming back to us. And yet again, these 2 mons, I am actually incredibly surprised made it back to me. Sorry, 3 picks. Oh my god, I skipped a mon. I skipped it on purpose because we did draft this last, but yeah, 3 mons. But basically, these are the last 2 big picks. This the last pick I chose, even though it's an expensive and good mon. It was just a mon to just for whatever, because we had extra points. But this next mon, I'm incredibly excited to use mon, because I love this mon, especially after using it in draft, helping people with mocks and using it, and just fighting it. It's really annoying and pretty difficult to prep for. We are able to grab our grounded poison type and our dark type Overcurl. Overcurl is really good. Like, it's really good. I sound like one of those fucking Valorant players. But this mon is really incredible. I love this mon. It's so incredibly easy to run Assault Vest on this, so its one downside being pretty decently bad SPDF goes pretty easily to max SPDF with a really high base 130 Assault Vest. Not to mention it's pretty nice on the physical side, and gets Intimidate, so it really does just wall physical mons. Even Earthquaking mons, it does a pretty great job at. Not to mention, it gets Swift Swim, so if you ever want to run some devious stuff with some Damp Rock or just some Rain Dance, which honestly I could see coming in certain weeks for me, because I have Quack's Eye, and I can use Quackerful and Swift Swim over Coil to just outspeed and sweep the whole team. Like that. That's so nice to just think about that, and it's also kind of tough to prep for, or just think about, or deal with in the middle of the match when you didn't prep for it. But another nice thing is just being like a really bulky Assault Vest variant with Poison Point. I really like this just because it's like Assault Vest, Poison Point, and then you can either do Bar Barrage, which giving you an 80% chance basically to get poison, and then this becomes a base 120 physical move, or you just be Poison Jab and have a 60% chance with much more power. So, but not to mention this mon gets some pretty good moves like Gunk Shot, Crunch. It gets Haze, which is a really nice thing. It stops setup mons. You get some good moves, and even though it's base 65 special attack, I do see myself bringing High Beam sometimes for certain dragons like Garchomp and stuff like that. It's really nice for that. Not terrible on the special side, and then it gets Toxic, which is pretty massive, pretty great way to stall. Waterfall, yet again, we get to use that. It gets Liquidation as well, and it gets Swords Dance, which makes this mon really nice. And yet again, for defensive and support, we get Spike's Taunt, which is a really nice duo to have. So that's like really nice to have. Like, this mon is truly great. I love this as a mon, and I'm so happy that I get to use it. I did think about using this mon in a bunch of drafts because it's such a good mon. It usually is drafted like round 6 due to it being pretty nice and always just filling great holes. So it was really nice. But yeah, I'm like pretty surprised that I made it to like what, round 7, round 8 pick. But yeah, I'm really happy with this mon. Like, this mon is a really good mon that filled in the last couple holes we needed, and these last 2 picks are pretty much just whatever I wanted. We had all our typings, we got all what we needed, we got all like, you know, check marks we needed to fill out, and we filled pretty much most holes. So I was thinking, okay, we got incredible bulk. Let's just get that offensive going. My next mon is our final Terramon, and a pretty good Terramon. I chose Vidoe. Raichu Alohan is pretty nice. It gets separate. This Surge Surfer, we probably will never use this, let's be honest. Sadly, no good ability. But I did give it Terra Electric Ice with Terra Blast, which is really, really nice. And then we also get Terra Fairy, which is really, really nice. It's really incredibly difficult to switch into this, not to mention 110 speed. We get to outspeed a lot of stuff, especially stuff like Scarf, Garchomp, not Scarf, but Garchomp. And outspeeding any base 100 Mond, which is really nice. I really, really like this Mond, not to mention that I got Surf. So, usually, one of the biggest problems with Ice Mond and Terra is that it's pretty much always going to be Terra Ice. Because it needs that for ground types and grass types and all that stuff. However, we don't really need to run that. We can actually run Terra Fairy with Terra Blast, Surf, and then Thunderbolt. Because then we're kind of only walled against grass types, which is sort of, kind of walled, which we have, if we stay non-terrored, we do resist them, and then, of course, we can just, like, Terra Blasting and stuff and doing some neutral damage to each other. Of course, we get Volt Switch as well, which is really nice. And then we get a Lone Voice, which is a really nice special move to have finally, or a fairy move. Because honestly, you would always just run Terra Blast Fairy on this, but you could now run a Lone Voice. I'm not going to mention, I actually kind of forgot I got this. This is actually really nice. Pretty much making this mon actually really difficult to deal with on the fairy side. And then it gets knocked off for support. Like I said, Volt Switch, and then the other move is Screens. That's a pretty good one. Screens with Light Clay is actually a pretty good theme that comes for us, especially since we didn't have a great Screens mon. So it's really nice to now have a Screens mon like that. So it's really, really nice. And of course with Terra, I could just do this mon yet again, kind of cleaning up at the end. Now it's definitely not as strong as a Terra Superior, because Terra Superior is basically an Uber. Like this mon should have not been allowed to Terra. It's a mon that was like, what the hell? How does this allow to get past? The checking of the teams of people making it, but they allowed it, so crazy. But yeah, so we got a Alolan Raichu, which is really nice. Got an electric type now too, and we also get a final pick, which yet again, now just a whatever pick. Now I wanted to get a normal type, but I didn't really like all the normal types around. All the good ones like Snorlax and stuff got taken, so I won't have a normal type to wall stuff like Spectre, or some pretty good bulky, or not bulky, but physical mods. So we are gonna have to be taking some Poltergeist from this team. But I wanted another theme for my opponent to prep for. A theme that pretty much made my opponent not want to ever fight me. One of the themes that people hate, and I even hate, and people still hate to this day. Sticky Webs, Galvantula. Yep, we drafted him. We get Compound Eyes, so we can really easily just run Thunder. We get the ability to run a base 110 move, because accuracy is multiplied by 1.3 with 70 base, so it's really, we have a high chance to hit him. And even though the stats are a little underwhelming, he has good speed again, 108. He outspeeds Garchomp, or I think he actually speed types Garchomp. That is really big. But yet again, Thunder is just really nice. Even though it has 97 special attack, it hits equally as hard, if not maybe harder than our Raichu, because it just hits with Thunders, and that's really nice. Usually, it's probably going to be Focus Sash Lead with Sticky Webs. Let's get those Sticky Webs going. Like, this is just a common set right here. It gets Energy Ball to hit ground types, and it's Bug type, which is nice. So, it's not even weak to ground due to it being neutral with Bug. It gets Volt Switch, which is really nice. That's another nice thing. And Thunder Wave. This is pretty much a really big support mod. However, I could see myself, I didn't even think about running an Agility set already for week 1. Agility with like Thunder and stuff just kind of can go crazy because he outspeeds Scarfmont and he just like snagging kills with Thunder and stuff. It's really nice. This mon is a really menace. I get the big menace. We also get a Rain Dance mon, another Rain Dance mon to set up Rain Dance. And that's kind of it for it. It's not like the most like, oh wow, this is a truly amazing pick. But it is really stupidly difficult to prep for because of Sticky Webs. Like now you either have to run Heavy Duty, or you have to make sure you have your Rapid Spinner on, because if you run Scarf and I get my Sticky Webs off, or if I bring it, you could just lose the game on the spot. We have had this issue a bunch of times in prepping, and it's just one of those things where it's like, this is the ultimate menace in Draft League, and honestly just in general, because it just shuts down pretty much every mon, and it's stupid. You either run Heavy Duty, so you can't really have a good check of like Assault Vest, Scarf, or just simply not be able to run Bandit and Specs. Or you just run Rapid Spinner, forcing one of your slots to be a Rapid Spinner, which could be a mon that's not good in the matchup. Like, it could be a really bad matchup mon, but you have to bring it to make sure you don't lose to this. So that's what I really like about this. It's kind of the same as having like Knackle Stack or Gargle Knackle, all those, where it's like you kind of have to have a Ace Covert Cloak mon kind of ready at your disposal because Salt Kill could just sweep you. So it's really nice to have that. And with that, that is our Draft League team. This is a really powerful team. I really like this team. Here, just for you guys, I will show this off right here. This is our entire draft league with the points and most importantly our weaknesses. So it says we have a big ground weakness, but we have Tornadus, and it doesn't take immunities into like it doesn't take the immunity, so it says red, but we're basically neutral to ground. So it should be just like this with the ice, where it's like it's evened out. Ground is still scary, but yet again, giving us free Torn switchings is really bad for our opponent. Ghost is a little scary, I'm not gonna lie. Ghost is actually kind of scary. We don't really have a great resist, which is only Overquill, which is a little scary, but that's alright. One of the mons that are weak to Ghost can Terror, so that's fine. And as you can see all the base stats right here, so if you ever had a thing you want to think about, it's right here. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. You can see all the typings. We don't have a Rock, Ice, and Normal type, which is a little upsetting not having a Normal type, but it happens, and I'm not too upset, especially since, like, oh, Athro thing, Spectre I don't think is allowed in this draft. That's why. Sorry, I'm so around the place because I'm doing so many drafts, so I sometimes forget, but Spectre is not allowed in this, so normal types are not that big in this. Usually you want a normal type because Spectre can get out of hand so easily, and you just want to be like, okay, normal type with AV, or just a bulky special Novaman type, and now it gets shut down. Or I have to try to land like 8 Focus Blasts or something like that, so that is pretty big, but it didn't need it. It didn't need it. So that's really nice. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little theme. Sorry it was a little long, and tell me if you guys like it like this, or if you want me to go back to the edited where I go list by list telling you everything great about them. Alright. Okay. Yeah. That was, you know, a pretty good draft, I would say. I think this is one of my very powerful teams in one of the drafts. Like, this is one of these teams where it looks weird and kind of like not super scary, but once you actually start prepping for it, it is an absolute menace. And also we have so much like leverage. We could do whatever we want. We have so much mon that could just deal with anything and everything, so we can just run whatever we want. And that's one thing I want to do mostly in draft. I like running silly sets. I like running silly stuff. I don't really here to, you know, super sweat. I say that while I draft a regen coin, but you know what I mean. Basically, give me leverage to run more fun stuff. So yeah, I'll see you guys in week 1, which will be either today or on Sunday, and you guys will see a video later today. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.